This is the mini lesson for Chapter 1, Sections 2 through 4. We've already done Chapter 1, Section 1 together in class, and that was more of a review section. So this presentation will include your essential questions, vocabulary words, and the most important details from each section that you will need to know for your assessment. Each time you see an essential question on the screen, if you do not have it in your notes, you need to pause the video and record the essential question in your notes. These are the vocabulary words for Chapter 1, Section 2, fair weather. The words that you will need to know are growing season, flora, fauna, tornado, and hurricane. As you see these words appear in your online study guide or in this presentation, you will need to pause the video and copy down your vocabulary terms. They will be on your Chapter 1 assessment. Here, you will find the definitions for growing season, fauna, and flora. Those are the most important aspects of this slide. In the next section, we'll discuss the 3 major natural disasters that occur here in Mississippi. They are floods, tornadoes, and hurricanes. On your assessment, you will find questions about the Great Flood of 1927, tornadoes in general, and Hurricane Katrina. It is important that you know what year Hurricane Katrina occurred, the magnitude of Hurricane Katrina, and what parts of Mississippi received substantial damage because of Hurricane Katrina. Natural disasters in general are the result of some sort of scientific reaction in our atmosphere. That goes for tornadoes, floods, and hurricanes. For Mississippi, our hurricanes form in the Atlantic Ocean. You will need to know what coast that is of the United States. Okay, hurricanes for us form on the East Coast and they travel inland. That means moving towards the United States, westward. Hurricane season lasts from June 1st to November 30th. So that's the peak of our summer months all the way until we hit just about the beginning of winter. We will briefly discuss Hurricane Camille, but we will discuss Hurricane Katrina in detail and watch video clips because that is the hurricane that you are most familiar with. Now we're at Section 3 of Chapter 1, fertile soil. Make sure you copy your essential question. For Section 3, it is extremely long because it breaks down various details for each of the 12 soil regions in the state. I will briefly discuss each soil region, but you will have a performance task mini project in class that will actually expose you more to the soil regions than I will in this mini lesson. The vocabulary words that you need to know for Section 3 are antebellum period, geologist, maize, sharecropper, and farm tenancy. Because of the type of land and soil that we have here in Mississippi, people were able to generate money from it. So agriculture or farming and the use of farming and animals was able to provide farmers here and businessmen and women with money and social status during the colonial period in antebellum South. Geologists were responsible for dividing Mississippi into those 12 soil regions. And you'll notice once you look at the picture that's coming up next, that there are very different types of soil throughout the entire state of Mississippi. And with each different type of soil, different plants and animals are able to thrive and survive in those areas. Mississippi's northern border is Tennessee, and one of our soil regions is called the Tennessee Tombigbee Hills region. It's located in the northeastern corner of Mississippi, and the soil there is sandy and reddish, almost similar to our red clay dirt, but not as thick. The Tombigbee Prairie region is closer to the Alabama border of Mississippi. It's also called the Black Prairie, and the soil there is rich and dark, very much unlike the red clay dirt that we see here or in the Tombigbee Hills. In the Potomac region, it's important to know what was able to actually grow there. Even though that soil is red and clayish, Native Americans and white settlers grew corn. A synonym for corn is maize. And after corn's popularity declined, cotton became the #1 crop that was grown here in Mississippi. Hence why Mississippi is considered the Cotton Kingdom and a part of that cotton belt in the South. The Flatwoods region has soil that is not suitable for farming. It's gray, unfertile, meaning that it cannot sustain plant life, and it drains poorly. The North Central Hills region kind of reminds you of a swampy area. The soil has different colors throughout the region. It's both sandy, clayish, and loamish. In this area, the soil there is very fertile, which means that plants are able to grow abundantly. Jackson Prairie is similar to the Tombigbee Prairie, but it has more woodland. That means more long, tall trees. This area has dark and fertile soil, and they use limestone and clay here, which is what we use here to make cement. I'm sure you all have heard of the Piney Woods School, and there's actually a soil region named after Piney Woods. Here you see that the trees are very long and thin. They have what is called the longleaf pine forest. The lowlands or the bottomlands of this region are good for farmland. When you hear coastal meadows, it should put you in the mind of the Mississippi Gulf Coast. The coastal meadows region is where you will find Biloxi and Gulfport, Mississippi. The brown loam region is our most fertile region in the entire state. There we have several crops that are growing. Those crops include rice, corn, and wheat. The Lowest Bluffs region extends from Tennessee to Louisiana. The soil here is highly fertile, however, it is not strong enough to withstand erosion, so the soil here seems to not be able to last long enough for crops to grow successfully throughout the growing season. The Delta Yazoo Basin is where a large number of our crops are grown here. Another name or nickname for the Yazoo Basin is the Mississippi Delta, and it is a large stretch of farmland. It is affectionately called the most southern place on earth. As you see in the picture to the right, that's actually a catfish farm that is seen from an aerial view. That means from the air. There are a few things to know about the Southern River counties in the Natchez region. First of all, Natchez was Mississippi's capital at one point, and it was established by the French in 1716. Because of the large European population there, the region was considered one of the wealthiest in the state. There was also a large population of slaves in that area because those European settlers were coming and settling that area. This concludes Chapter 1, Section 3. This is the essential question for Chapter 1, Section 4. If you do not have it in your notes, you need to include it in your notes. The vocabulary words that you need to know from Section 4 are natural resource, tributary, reservoir, and aquaculture. Water is one of Mother Nature's most vital resources. People, plants, and animals need water to survive. Because of our access to different waterways, including the Gulf of Mexico, the Mississippi River, and dozens of other rivers within our state, we have an abundant water supply, which also helps make farming and agriculture something popular in our area. However, those water systems can be at danger if we continue to pollute our waterways. Fun fact, Mississippi extends from Minnesota to the Gulf of Mexico. If you look at the picture here to your right, that is called a barge, and it's like a large ship, and it's carrying cargo on the Mississippi River. So if you ever see something that looks like that, it's not a boat, it's called a barge. There are 6 reservoirs in Mississippi. The one that you are most likely familiar with is the Ross Barnett Reservoir, which is in Jackson, and it is the largest primary source of water for the city of Jackson. In addition to the crops that are grown here and the water resources, another resource that we have here in Mississippi is timber or chopped wood. This concludes Chapter 1, Sections 2 through 4. If you need help with any of your assignments for this section, email me using the classroom website. I'll walk you through that. astokesonline.weebly.com. Make sure you click the contact form. First name, last name, use a good email so I can respond back to you, and put your questions or concerns with your assignments in the comment box, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible.